Hi everybody, I'm Corinne Blackstone and welcome to my craft room. I'm so happy to have you here today and make sure that you're subscribed. That way you don't miss out on any of the fun, crafty content we have coming. Just hit that big subscribe button down below. Now in today's video, I'm going to show you something that I showed you actually over on Instagram first, and so many of you wanted to know how to make your own printed patterned vinyl and to cut out your stickers like this. So I'm going to show you that in today's video. Now if you want to see some things that I don't necessarily post here on YouTube, be sure that you're following me over on Instagram because I do post stuff that I don't make full tutorials for. But if you guys ever want to see those and you want to see a full tutorial, you can let me know in those comments. Now this is a really fun process. I'm going to be using StarCraft printable vinyl, which I will link below, but I'll link some other options down below as well that I really like to work with. Now keep in mind you can add a laminate layer over this. I did not for this video because these are not going outside or on anything that's going to get wet, but you can absolutely do that with whether you want to use holographic, clear, matte, glossy, whatever you want. I'll link some of those below as well. All of our patterns are from FABRICA. And I will link these below too if you want to find the patterns. I love FABRICA. They have tons of great fonts, patterns, graphics, all sorts of things. And you can get a free trial right now with 10 free downloads. I'll link below in case you want to check it out. If you want to sign up after that, it's just $4.99 a month for just about everything on their website is included in that cost. Love working with them, have always used them. They're fantastic, so I'll put that link below for you too. Now we're going to be doing everything in Design Space. It's really easy, and I'm going to show you how to set up your sticker so it cuts like this where it has the offset around it. So it just looks really cool, really professional, and I love doing that with a patterned vinyl project because I just think it looks a little bit easier to read that way rather than just cutting out a square. I think it looks nice, clean, and professional. So let's head over to Cricut Design Space and get started.
Whatever we would do, we do it just for fun.
We're going to be using Creative Fabrica for this. It's a great website. So what we're going to do is we're going to go under the graphics option here, and there is a section just for patterns. So we're going to go ahead and select that. Now, if you have a specific design in mind that you want to use, you can just search that. Like if you wanted butterflies or bubbles or whatever, you can absolutely just search that. But I just like to sometimes kind of just scroll through and see what I find and what like amuses me. So we have here the community patterns, and those are just patterns done by different designers and stuff. Or you can go down here and you can find even more patterns, and these are like pattern sets. So these are like what they call paper patterns, but you can use them for anything. I'm going to look in the community patterns for this just because I think it's fun to see what kind of new stuff they have, all sorts of cool things. These cats absolutely crack me up. I kind of want to use them, but we'll skip those for now. But you can really choose anything that you want. So depending on what style you're going for, what kind of designs you want to do. So I want to do 3 different ones so I can kind of show you how I break that up onto a sheet of 8.5 by 11 printable vinyl. So I'm just going to choose 3 different patterns. Now, some patterns will work better than others. So a pattern like this, it's pretty spread out images. So that pattern, you're not going to see a lot of it when you cut something into it. But a pattern that is more like this leopard or cheetah print is going to show a lot of the pattern because it's much more condensed. So that's something to think about when you're looking at the patterns that you want to use. So I'm going to scroll through here, find a couple of patterns, and I'm going to show you how to download them. I found this neat swirl one, so this one's pretty cool. So we'll go ahead and use this, and I'm going to show you how to download it because it's very, very simple. All you need to do is click the download button, and it's going to bring up your folder and ask you where you want to save it. So I have a folder that is set specifically for patterns. It makes it easier to find what I'm looking for. So I'm going to select that. And for this one, because it's got a weird name, I'm going to change it to Purple Swirl. And that way I know what it is. Then go ahead and click Save. Now it is going to be a compressed folder, so I'm going to need to open that folder by clicking on it up here in my little downloads option. And I just want to click Extract All and then click Extract. Now I will close the folder right here that has the pink at the top that says Extract because that is my zipped folder. Now I do want to show you on the patterns if we wanted to use some of those paper patterns. So I'm going to go back to Patterns, and I'm going to go down here to where it has all of the paper patterns. Like I said, you can really use any that you want to, but just find one that speaks to you that you really like. And there are so many to choose from that honestly you can find something for any holiday, any design that you want to do. There's lots of like Christmas, Halloween, all sorts of really fun ones that you can choose from. So I'm going to go ahead and look for a set of patterns here that we can use a pattern from, and we're going to do 3 different patterns. I think these sunflowers are really cute, so what I'm going to do is click on them, and it's going to be that same way to download. So all you're going to do is click download, and it's again going to open up folder and ask you where you want to save. It should default to your patterns, and it's got a good title, so I'm going to leave that and click save. Again, I'm going to go up here, click on it to open it, and then I want to just click extract and extract. Then again, we'll just close the extracted folder. You'll see why we do that when we go over to Design Space. It just makes it easier to find what we're looking for. Now I'm going to find one more pattern set to use, and then we will be ready to go. Once I've downloaded all of the patterns that I want to use, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to Canva. Now you can do this completely for free, so you can sign up for free. I will link Canva Pro down below. I love Canva Pro, but again, you can use this for free. Really easy. What you want to do is go to where it says custom size over on that right hand side, kind of towards the upper edge. Click on custom size, and I want you to change where it says PX, which stands for pixels, over to inches. It's just easier. Then I want to do an 8.5 by 11 wide, because that's the size of my printable paper. If you're using A4, go ahead and use that size, but for this, we're going to be using a regular letter size. Now for this, it's going to open up a blank page. Now what's kind of cool is you can actually use patterns and things from here in Canva if you wanted to, but because we're going to be doing this completely for free using Canva, we're going to use the designs that we chose from Creative Fabrica. Now you can use patterns that you find pretty much anywhere for this. You use what makes you happy, really up to you. Now remember, I left those folders open. I did so that I'd be able to drag and drop those designs. So I found this really cute pink pattern, and I think for this I want to use this kind of like real cool, I'm not sure what to call it, but it's really fun. It's a really fun color, really cool design. Just thought this one would be super fun. I did test these so you can see where I used a couple of different ones, and I did use this one. I'm going to load each of these in to my page here, and then from there, we're going to go ahead and size them and get them ready to go. Now, these ones, I think I want to use this pattern here because I think this one gives us the most like sunflower look, but you guys can choose whatever pattern you like, whatever you want to do. So you can see all I'm doing is just like in Design Space, I'm just simply dragging and dropping it into Canva. Canva allows us to very easily drag and drop our products right into their software. Now, obviously, these patterns look pretty ugly together, but that's okay. We're not going to actually use them all on the same thing. Now, we want to make sure that our patterns fit onto our paper. Like this, not really how we're going to set this up. I'm going to do 3 fairly equal sections onto my 8.5 by 11 sheet. It equals about 3.6 wide or tall, I guess, and then you want to do about 8.5 wide. So what you want to do is I select my design here, and I just want to shrink it a little bit, and then I'm going to kind of expand it like this so that it keeps that pattern pretty even. Now I want to size it so that it is about 3.6 tall. So when you're sizing it like this, do you see down here at the bottom, you can see where it says width and height. Now this is really hard to get like an exact measurement on, but I just kind of watch it until it goes to about 3.6, and width really isn't going to matter so much as height is, because if it goes off the side of your sheet, it's totally fine. It won't matter. Let's do the sunflower one next. So I'm just going to kind of scooch some things around. So I'll just do the same thing where I'm going to size my design just so that it fits into that 3.6 area. Now let's say that for this, I kind of want more of this brown edge showing. So what I can always do is just expand this up a little bit and then kind of size it based on where that little brown edge is. And you can kind of crop it from top to bottom. It's really up to you where you want to crop it, but I find that like if you want a certain part of your design, you want to make sure that you crop it pretty well, pretty close. Now, I think I'm going to give the sunflower just a little bit more space. And then all I need to do is take the purple one and fit it into the spot at the bottom. Again, you can kind of size it like this. You can crop it. You can size it this way, which doesn't expand the image. So you want to kind of play with this a little bit and figure out how you want your design to size for your space. Now, like I said, it does not matter if it goes over the edges. So let's say I want this a little bit bigger, It doesn't matter that it's going over the side of your paper. It's not going to change anything in the way that it cuts. So now you can see here we have our 3 patterns all lined up on our page. Now we're just printing these on an inkjet printer. There's nothing crazy special about how you have to print this, but I am going to show you some print settings to use so that you can make sure you get a really good quality print. So what you'll want to do from here is go to Share, and you want to click on Download. Now, if you're doing this for free, you have a few options. You can do a PNG, you can do PDF standard or PDF print. I recommend doing PDF print. Then all you want to do is right here where it says color profile. I always change it to CMYK, which is best for professional printing, but it does help make a little bit better product when you're done. Go ahead and click download, and it's going to, again, kind of work on its download, and it will bring up a folder to ask you where you want to save that item to. Once it brings up your folder, you can save it wherever you want. So I'm going to call this Patterns Video, and I'm going to go ahead and click Save. Now we want to open that image because that's where we're printing from, is right here from this PDF. Makes it super easy. Real simple way to do this is just to make that PDF. Now I'm going to click print, but I'm going to show you a couple of things that we need to make sure that we work on to make sure that we're going to get the best quality print. First, check your printer. I have 2, I actually have 3, but I have an ST4000 or my ET2720. The 2720 is my inkjet printer, and that's the one we want to use for this. We do not want to use a sublimation printer. Now I want to go under where it says more settings, and then I want to click right here where it says print using system dialog. From here, again, make sure you've got the correct printer selected. So I want to use my ET2720. Then I want you to go to preferences. Now this may be a little bit different depending on the product you're using, whether you're using printable vinyl, printable sticker paper, whatever the case may be. But I like to use the premium presentation paper matte setting. That setting works great for good quality prints. The next thing I want to do is change my quality here from standard up to high. I want to make sure that color is selected right here, and then I want to go over to where it says more options. Now, if for some reason your printer is not giving you all of these options, a lot of times it's because your drivers were not installed correctly, so you can go to your printer's manufacturer page and download those drivers again and reinstall them. Now over here, I want to change right here under additional settings. I want to turn off this high speed print option. Now for this, I don't need to mirror my image at all because we're printing this on a printable vinyl or printable sticker paper. Those are not mirrored. And then all I want to do is click OK and then click print to send it to my printer. Now comes the fun part where we get to design whatever we want to use with our printed vinyl that we just made. So you can use images, you can use fonts, you can really do kind of whatever you want to do. But for this, I'm just going to use a couple text images. Really, like I said, whatever you want to do, make it your own, have fun with it. But I'm just going to do a couple of text ones. So I'm going to do my name in the purple swirl. So I'm going to find a font that I like by just clicking on this font option up here in the upper left-hand corner. Now, did you know you can actually move this font box around your screen? All you have to do is just click on it and drop and drag it wherever you want it. That's super helpful because it's a little easier to see the fonts that you have, and you can change up your text without having to move your font box or your text out of the way. So I'm just going to kind of scroll through. I think I want to use a thicker text because that'll show more of the pattern. I think it's really fun when you're working with patterns to use bigger, thicker texts so that you can really see kind of what your design looks like. This is one of my favorite fonts. I use it for just about everything. It's called Before Forever. I'll link all the fonts I use down below because you guys always ask. So let's go ahead and do that one for my name. Now I'll resize these again in a minute, but I'm going to slide that one out of the way. And then the next text, we'll do the fall, like sunflowers, and I'm going to do fall vibes. Except I just realized I didn't capitalize everything, so I want to do fall vibes. And for this, again, just use a text or a font that you like. Again, the thicker the text, the better it will show when you're doing the design. So because this one has sunflowers on it, I do want to do something a little bit thicker. So I just want to find something kind of fun. I think that one's cute. The little, it's called Enjoy Summer. Now I am going to go ahead and reduce the like space between the words, which you can do either up here at the top with line space, and you can just put in like a negative number, or you can also go up here to advanced and just ungroup it to lines. And then all you need to do is just manually move that a little bit closer. I'm going to select both of those and I'm going to attach them. And again, I'll resize here in just a minute. And then the next one, I'm going to use that pink and I'm going to do the word Barbie. And for this one, I'm going to use the Absolute Blonde font. So I'm going to click on that one because that's like the Barbie font. Now for this one, we are going to do something fun. So I'm going to make it way bigger so you can see what I'm doing. So what I want to do with the Barbie font is I kind of want to create an outline of the letters with an additional outline. So it's going to have like a cool offset around it. So it's really easy to do, and I'm going to show you how. All you'll need to do is select your design and up at the top, choose offset. Now I don't want a really, really thick offset, so I am going to thin it down a little bit with our little slider because I want this inside offset to be just a little bit smaller. I'm going to go ahead and apply that offset. Now I'm going to change the color of the word Barbie just so you can see it a little bit better. And now what I want to do is create an offset of the offset. That's going to be our outline. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on offset, and I want this one to be a little bit thicker because it's going to be the outside of our letters. So I'm going to go ahead and click apply. Now with this one here, I want to get rid of any of like this inside section where it's going to be hollow because I don't want that. So I'm going to go to contour, and all I'm going to do is just click on these empty holes right here, and that is going to kind of keep all of that as like a solid shape. The next thing I want to do is I need to take the two offsets I created and slice them from each other. And right now it probably doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but I'm going to show you what it's going to look like here in just 1 second. So I want to get rid of a couple of pieces here. So I'm going to kind of pull this apart. So I want to get rid of this, which was our original offset, because we don't want this. And I'm going to get rid of this because this was the sliced part. Now I'm going to change my offset color to the same color of my design. And now does it make a little bit more sense what I mean when I say I want that outline for it? It's going to be really cute having that little extra outline, and that's kind of like gives you the Barbie vibes. Now I am going to select both of these and I'm going to weld them because I'm not going to change it in any way. I want it to stay exactly the way it is, and I find that welding just gives me a better result when I want to do different things. Now let's go ahead and we're going to size this down because we're going to add some additional offsets to this so that we can cut this out of our printed product a little bit easier, and it looks really cute with these additional offsets. Now remember, you're working with a little under 8.5 wide by about 3.6 high. So I'm going to put my offsets on right now. That way you can see, and then we can resize once we've got everything together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my design and I'm going to click on the word offset. Now again, I don't want a giant offset, so I am going to size this down a little. I don't need it to be tiny, but I don't want it to take up a huge amount of my space. So I think that this is a pretty good size. It's going to give you enough room around where it should be easy to go ahead and weed away from that. So I'm going to click apply. Now, one more important step that we need to do. I need to duplicate this offset a couple of times. And I want to do that because I want it to cut around that offset multiple times so that it cuts through the entire backing and it creates that little offset sticker that I showed you at the beginning. So what I want to do is I'm going to duplicate this. And a lot of times it's just kind of guessing how many times you got to duplicate it. I usually go like 6-7 times, and that seems to work really well. If it cuts a little bit too deep, it's fine. I'm not really worried about it. Now what I want to do, I'm going to move the Barbie out of the way. I want to select all the offsets, the black offsets that I just created, and I want to go to align and I want to center them. The next thing I want to do is I want to click attach. That's going to tell Design Space to keep them all together, not to move them, and that's how I want them to cut. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to change the color on these so that you can see what happens when I do our next step. I want to right click on these and I want to send these to the back because this Barbie part, this section, needs to be on top. Now, if you want to get it perfectly aligned, select both and you want to center it. Then I want you to click attach again. So what this is telling Design Space is it tells Design Space that you only want to cut out the Barbie lettering and the second offset, so this outside offset right here, once. But then it's telling Design Space that I want to cut the big offset many times so that it cuts through the backing. This will make a lot more sense once you see it cut and how it weeds. Now again, we just need to check our sizing. I think that sizing's pretty good. We could probably go a little bit bigger, but I think that's a pretty good size. I'm going to slide that one out of the way, and we'll do the same thing over here for Fall Vibes. So again, I'm going to change the color, and I'm going to add an offset. Now again, does not require a big offset. This is the one that we're only going to add one offset, and we're going to multiply that offset a couple times. So that offset looks pretty good, but again, I don't really want it to cut these little holes because it's just unnecessary. So I'm going to go to Contour, and I'm going to just hide all those little holes. And then I want to duplicate that offset several times. Again, I don't really count necessarily. I just sort of click duplicate a bunch. And all I want to do is I'm going to go ahead and move this Fall Vibes off. I'm going to select all of my offsets. So I just need to move Barbie out of the way so it stops trying to select her. I'm going to just kind of gather all my offsets a little closer just because it's getting a little full on my page here. I'm going to click all my offsets. So I want to select them all. I want to align them and center them. Right click on them, send to back, and then attach them. I'm going to change, again, changing color to make it easier for you guys to see what I'm doing. Then I'm going to line up my Fall Vibes. So sometimes it doesn't really work all the time when you tell it to send to back. So sending backwards, send to back, one of those, see which one will get it all the way to go behind everything. Then I want to take my Fall Vibes. Again, I'm going to align, I'm going to center it. And then I'm going to go ahead and size. So remembering that we have about 3.6 high. So I'm going to go a little bit less than that. I'm going to go like 3.43. And then again, I want to attach. Now again, it's only going to cut the letters one time, and then it's going to cut that offset many times. So we just have one more to do. So again, I'll change colors just to make life easier on us. But we will make everything the same color in just a moment, and I'll show you why. So what again, add the offset. Does not need to be a big one. Go ahead and click apply. Go ahead and fill those holes in. You don't have to, but I prefer to because it's just less that the machine has to cut. Then duplicate that offset a bunch of times. Sometimes it just like randomly like throws them wherever on your screen, which I find annoying and insane. So I'm going to go ahead and move these ones up. And I'm going to go ahead and move these ones over, and then I'm going to grab the original and select all the offsets. Go to align and center them. Right click on them. Attach them. Then right click on them and send to back. Then you can go grab your name. Again, you can change the offset background color if you want to. It's really up to you. I do it so you guys can see better what I'm doing. That way you guys can really see. Now, obviously, I don't have that centered at all, so I want to select both items. I want to center it, and then I want to attach. Now, I am going to make everything the same color, and I'm going to show you why here. So I'm just going to go to Color Sync, and I'm just going to drag all of my items into the color that it goes, like just whatever color. It doesn't matter. It does not matter what color these are at all. Then when I go click make it, you're going to see that everything is going to show now on the same mat, which is what we want it to do so that we can move them around so that they will fit on our page that we cut out. So what you do is you kind of move these around. And so this first one here is going to fit at the very top of our screen because that's where our paper is. So we're going to go ahead and get that one fit to the top of our screen. The next one down is Fall Vibes, and that one's going to go a little bit below the 4 and above the 8. And then this one is going to go just a little bit lower. I'm just going to kind of put that between the 9 and the 10. Now, I could resize this one up a little bit if I want to make it a little bit bigger. Really up to you. I think I'm going to make it just a little bigger because it is kind of small. Again, you can really do whatever you want, but I do want a lot of that design to show through. So this one I can definitely go quite a bit bigger. Now the thing is, once you go back, you have to put everything back onto your page. You've got to move everything back around, but it's not too hard to do. You just kind of scooch everything around. You can tell on your mat where things have lined up and how you need them to sit in order for them to cut correctly. Now you can move these over a little bit if there's like specific spot you want like the fall vibes to cut where it's going to get more sunflowers on it. Really up to you. Let's go ahead, load our mat, and I'll show you what this looks like so it's easier to line up on your lines. Now I'm going to cut this on the heavy cardstock setting. That works best for my machine, but I do really recommend you do test cuts. What I've done is I've placed our printed pattern that we made from our inkjet printer onto a standard grip mat. I'm using StarCraft printable vinyl. I will link a couple printable products that I like down below. Now you want to make sure that you load this in the same way that it's facing when you printed it out, because otherwise your wording isn't going to make sense. But I've got my Barbie, the fall vibes, and then my name here. I cut this on the light cardstock setting, and I do add more pressure, but remember we're going to have that offset cut out as well. So I'm going to go ahead and let this cut. Now, even though this is a printed product, it's not going to have to read any sensor lines because we're not actually using print and cut. We just printed this, and then we're going to cut out from the design. Now, I will say that I noticed Design Space decided that it was going to move stuff on its own, and it does that sometimes. So my fall vibes is way further down than I had it set. It's fine. It's actually bigger, too. They did not cut that correctly, but whatever. It happens. So the first thing I want you to do is to check your cut. So I'm just going to grab the edge of fall vibes and just see if it looks like it cut through just the sticker part, like the sticker paper. Look at how good. Ooh, that did so good. But then I also want to make sure that it cut through the back, because remember I wanted these to be kind of offset stickers. Look at how good. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and unload. And then I'm going to take these off of our mat. So what I do is I flip our mat over, and then all I'm going to do is just pull these off of our mat from the back very gently, because I don't want them to curl. They might curl a little bit, but they shouldn't curl too bad. And so then we're going to go ahead and get this one off. Like I said, Fall Vibes is a little funky because it has a little bit of the purple just at the very, very bottom. But truthfully, because of the offset, you can't even see it. I'm going to go ahead and weed these out and then show you what they look like. Here are the finished designs. I think they came out really, really cute. Now remember, you can absolutely put a laminate on these before you cut them if you want to. Holographic is really fun on top. Plus you could also do a matte or a glossy, but I think these came out really cute. And like I said, this one ended up being okay because the offset really was mostly what was into the purple. But Design Space does occasionally move stuff on you, and it can be a little bit of a pain. I love how the colors look on this one. I think it's really, really fun. And then we have the fun Barbie one. And I'm going to link below the font that I used here for the Barbie design. That way you can find it super easy. But I think these are a really fun way that you can use printable vinyl and make your own patterns. Like, how fun is this to be able to do whatever you want to do, use them however you want, and you have all these really, really cool patterns now that you can use and do whatever you want with. It's a great way to use those digital papers and those digital patterns that you can get. I will link the patterns that I chose down below for you as well in case you want to use them. They're really fun, super easy to use, and they all came from Creative Fabrica. I'll also link down below where you can sign up for a free trial if you want to test it out. You get 10 free downloads, which you can use on these patterns, and then you can either sign up for just $4.99 a month or cancel anytime. If you have any questions about this or any of the other things we do here on the channel, by all means, let me know in those comments down below. I am always happy to answer those for you. Make sure that you're subscribed here on YouTube. That way you don't miss out on any of the fun, crafty content we have coming. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and as always, happy crafting.